Hello, it's the Magic Hour Podcast. I am Chris Magical. Welcome back. Surprise for you guys this week. This episode is coming out, obviously, the scheduled Tuesday nights. And then another episode. I got a bonus episode coming out on Wednesday. Because, the NBA is going on, and we had a very exciting first weekend, so I wanted to do a pod specifically for that, with, Jackson Schlater and Xavier Gomez came back on, and we just talked about the things that we saw from the NBA, and it's a fun one. I think you'll enjoy it. But this episode, with sports coming back, I thought it would be funny to do an episode with my Uncle Mike again. If you remember, the last podcast that we did was 5 things that we miss most about sports. It was a little nostalgic, which we loved and loved doing, and apparently you guys loved listening to, because that was my most listened to episode ever. So I brought him back, and we did 3 things that we don't miss about sports. So basically bitching about stuff that kind of drives us crazy with sports and we could use without. So this is kind of a fun one, a funny one, and I think you'll enjoy it. And again, another episode will be coming out tomorrow, Wednesday, which will be the 5th, which will be a strictly NBA pod, about an hour-long episode with me, Jackson Schlater, and Xavier Gomez, talking about what we've seen so far. So yeah, here's this episode. Here's me and Uncle Mike talking about the things we hate about sports. So there's only one person I know who cares this as passionately about the evident last place Giants than this person coming on right now. I don't know anybody who cares this much. I mean, we all know that they're going to be in last place, but yet for some reason he still blows up my phone bitching about the Giants sucking when he knew they were going to be terrible at the beginning of the season. Uncle Mike is back. Welcome back, Uncle Mike.
Hey, what's up? Yeah, I know. I'm blowing up your phone. Giants suck.
Do you like that opening? Just completely just dogging you the second you come in.
No, it's okay. I understand.
It,
Yeah.
it I-
Hey,
it's
you know what
hilarious
though?
because
At
like
least,
I texted you 2 days ago because you're texting me stuff. You're bitching about Hunter Pence being 0 for 16, and nice mask for the listeners. He's wearing a 49ers face mask right now. Um, when you texted me about bitching about Hunter Pence being 0 and 16, my immediate response was, Uncle Mike, no disrespect, but I don't give a shit about how the Giants are doing. They're gonna be they're terrible. I don't care if I'm not watching them. I don't care. And you're just like, I know. I get it. I want the A's to win the World Series this year.
yeah, I
God
am.
damn it, Brandon Belt. And then you start bitching about Brandon Belt. I'm like, oh God, he just in
I'm
one
rooting
ear,
for
out the
the
other.
A's. I'm rooting for the A's nephew to win the whole thing
There you go. That's what I like to hear.
because I know my Giants have no shot. So I'm rooting for the A's.
I like what Yaz is doing. Like I was telling you, he's killing it for my fantasy team right now.
Yaz is the best player on the team, dude.
Yeah,
They moved him down to the 3 hole, right?
yeah. He's got a bright future. I just, it's the old guys that are kind of tearing it down, but at the same time, it kind of shines a light on Yaz a little bit and makes him get a little bit of confidence going into the rebuild. It might be a good building block for like him and Joey Bart. Good building blocks, moving forward. So we'll see.
The youth, and then Pence is killing me. 0 20, 0 and 23. Yeah, so it's hard to watch him bat when there's guys that are younger that I've never seen hit before. Um, put those guys in the game. I want to see the young guys play. We're gonna suck. Let's see it.
Holy shit, 0-23? That's insane. Here's the thing, though, Uncle Mike. I feel like, as many things as the A's do wrong in terms of the business side, in terms of the baseball side, they do so well with development, especially. Like, there's a reason why we keep on turning out insane, talent every single, rebuild we do. It feels like our rebuilds are only, 2 years long, and then we're good again. It's because they really work on prospect development throughout the big leagues, and they don't try to rush that process where you could see a lot of prospects, especially in kind of the mid 2010s. It felt like after Bryce Harper and Mike Trout got brought up at age 19 and they did well, everybody thought okay, we can rush this process. But the A's really they really focus on that, and they really put a lot of work, and a typical A's prospect doesn't come up till he's 23, 24 years old. A good 5 years into the minor league process, unless they play college ball. So I feel like that's kind of important to the development. So you don't want to rush it too much. But at the same time, this season is kind of like a developmental season since it's only 60 games, And I just think that there are major, in terms of personnel, building blocks that you guys need to build from. I think Brandon Crawford's kind of past his prime, but he still could be a building block towards the future. Him, Yaz, and Joey Bart, and just kind of find pieces around those guys. Let those guys kind of be the stars. Who knows?
Did you see that Kapler pulled Brandon Crawford?
Did he really? Was he playing bad too?
He came up in a situation where runners on and they wanted the RBI option, and he pulled him and hit somebody else in his place.
Kapler's kind of a weird manager like that, though. I wasn't crazy about that that signing. But then also at the same time, Hunter Pence was an all-star last year. I think we tend to forget about that.
That's what I've been telling Sebastian. He's like, Dad, how come Pence sucks? He's like, he had a great season last year, and I said, I don't know. It's a great question. Weird. He did have a great season. Maybe last year's change of scenery was perfect for him. Mm-hmm. And now he's I don't know. With baseball, mental too. A lot of those players, he's back in the same spot.
Yeah.
Last year he struggled. Maybe it's in his head that he wants to come out and do good, and he's pressing, and I don't know.
At the same time, though, he had the same situation happen to him. He had a really good season first half, and then gets hurt again. The most injury-prone player in the history of baseball is Hunter Pence. This kid, every time he goes on a massive run and just starts killing it, he gets hurt. It's insane.
He plays the game really physically. He plays it like Eric Burns in a lot of ways, I think.
Yeah.
They throw their bodies around the field, and they're not worried about getting hurt,
Yeah.
So you get hurt because they play, balls to the wall baseball, which is, I love that. So when a guy gets hurt playing balls out, it's hard to really be mad at him,
Yeah, but at the same time, I think in modern day sports, you just kind of have to be a little bit more mindful of things like that. I don't know. Anyway, that's our Giants talk for the day. Brought to you by, I don't know.
I know there's a few of us that come on the pod that talk Giants, but I know Chris doesn't really like it. He likes to bag on it. He'll throw his little Giant zingers in there every time he gets a chance, which is great. I like it. So
it's not that I don't like talking Giants. We just did we just did about 5 minutes on the Giants, and I just encouraged every single part of it. I asked you questions. I brought up points. It's not that I don't like talking about the Giants. It's just I hate Giants fans so much because they're so we've talked about this. Not you, but a lot of bandwagon Giants fans are so ignorant and so stupid, and they just have no knowledge of the team, and they talk so much shit that I like to, give little jabs at them.
I know, I get it.
All right, so the main reason why Uncle Mike is coming on here, if you are a regular listener of my podcast, Uncle Mike comes on for history, nostalgia, and just feel good talk. And Mike, I was going to tell you this. I wanted to wait till we did a podcast. Exactly, passionate about sports and just, we get all the feelings out. It's great because he's my uncle and I love him. So I forgot. I was going to tell you this next time you got on the podcast. I didn't want to tell you beforehand. The most listened to episode of my entire podcast is an episode I did with you. It was the 5 things we miss about sports.
Really?
I swear to God, of all my episodes, which this will be the 39th episode, that was the most listened to podcast episode I've ever had.
That's good. Do you
Crazy,
know
right?
why?
No, did you blow it up to all your friends?
No.
Oh.
I'm wondering, do you know why?
No, I don't. I looked at the analytics and it's kind of all over the board.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, people were missing sports at that time, so maybe it struck a nerve with some people.
I think it was some of the tags too, because I just put like sports, like, I don't know. Certain like hashtags will open up certain audiences. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah,
So
it
this
drives it in that
week's,
direction.
yeah. So this episode, we're going the complete opposite of that last episode, which was 5 things we miss about sports, which was right when the coronavirus hit. This episode is going to be, it's not 5, it's 3, but 3 things don't 3 things that we don't miss about sports, 3 things that we hate that about sports coming back. So it's going to be the complete opposite. This one's going to be kind of more of a parody. So again, 3 things we don't miss about sports. Uncle, I'll let you go first.
All right. Do you want them like in an order, or does that matter?
So we'll go back and forth. So you give your first, I'll give my first. You give your
Like
second, I give my second.
1, 2,
No, it
3,
doesn't have to be in order. Just be the order of how you want to present it. However
Yeah.
you want to do it.
So,
I don't want to rank them. I feel like you can't really rank things that you hate.
yeah.
Well, I mean, you can actually, but I wasn't
So
prepared for that.
this one was kind of a weird one for me. So, thinking about the 3 things that I don't miss about something, because sports have come back, and I'm not out there watching every, basketball game that's going on right now, or every baseball game, but I am watching my Giants, and I am in on that. So this one was kind of, tough, because I do have some sports, and I am thankful that I do have some of the sports that I would normally be watching. So hopefully I came up with some good ones here. So the first one I was thinking about, okay, right now NBA is going on, and the Warriors are not playing due to the rules. You know all those ins and outs of that rule, but for whatever reason, they're not playing, right? So what is that rule, by the way? Why are they not playing?
So they only took teams that were kind of in somewhat contention for the playoffs, because the season wasn't completely done. It was about 75% done, and they felt like it was unfair to just start the playoffs, especially specifically in the Western Conference, because there was like for the 8 seed, it was like a good 5-team race. Like all 5 of those teams were in contention for that 8 seed in order to kind of squeeze in. But other than that, like 7 through 1 were so far ahead, so many games up on those teams, where it was just kind of like a no-go.
Mm-hmm.
So here it is. So the Lakers are the number 1 seed in the West. The Dallas Mavericks are the number 7 seed, and they are 11 games back from the Lakers. So the Mavericks are 40-28. The Lakers are 50-50, 50-0, and 15. Mm-hmm. And then Memphis Grizzlies, who are the 8th seed, are 7.5 games behind the Mavericks. Not the Lakers, the Mavericks at 7. That's how like overpowering and just good 1 through 7 in the West is.
Yeah.
And behind Memphis at number 9, this is current standings, by the way. This isn't back when coronavirus hit, just so the listeners know. So with the number 9, 10, 11, 12, and 13 seed, makes it called seed spot. The Spurs are 2 games behind the Grizzlies. The Trailblazers are 2.5 games behind the Grizzlies. The Pelicans are 3 games behind. The Kings are 3 games behind. The Suns are 3.5 games. So it's all kind of dancing around that area to where the NBA felt like they needed to give 8 through 13 a fair chance to try and make the playoffs, to try
Yeah.
and give them an opportunity to get into that spot. For the East, it was really, it's just, I think it was mostly they just had to make it an even game, so they let the Wizards come in, and that was it. They only let one team that was out of playoff contention play for a spot, and it's pretty much all for naught. Yeah,
Okay.
The East is pretty bad. It's pretty much like a 1 through 4 seed kind of game. Like, the Pacers are okay. They're at the 5 seed and they're competing, but the Sixers are bad. Hopefully they'll be better, but they're bad. The Magic are at 7. They're bad. The Nets are despicable and they're at 8. Like,
Yeah.
it's
Well, it's probably smart too from a safety perspective. You don't want all those extra players around there just to play games,
exactly. Like, so there was talk of like just doing a 20-team bubble. But then I guess the Suns and the Pelicans were really, the Pelicans were really arguing because they wanted to be a part of that. So in the offseason, they made it 22. But yeah, so there's no point to bring these other, like, I would say about 50 guys, if you include the other teams left in the NBA,
Mm-hmm.
50 to 70 players, add them to the bubble and raise the risk if you don't need
And
to.
their coaching staffs too.
Yeah. It's just there's no point for it.
Well, so I guess with that being said, thanks for that. Thanks for the education on that. I did not know. I didn't really pay attention when it was all going down.
Yeah.
I just knew the Warriors weren't playing because Sebastian told me. So that kind of leads into my first one, which is the Golden State Warriors. Golden State Warriors basketball. I was thinking about it the other day. Like, okay, well the Warriors are coming back, or the NBA is coming back, but the Warriors are not coming back to play. So this season was going to be a throwaway year anyway, with Clay and Curry being hurt. So to me, it's like it's a blessing in disguise. It's like these guys can really rest up, get healthy, get hungry, and come back out with those top 3 guys with Draymond. And then, I don't know, I was looking at the roster with Sebastian, trying to figure out, where they were. And I don't know whose contracts expire, but and the Warriors roster a lot better than I do, but I think they have some young players. Like, I like Looney. I was glad they brought him back. Who was I looking at too? Poole. I like him.
Jordan Poole's nice. Looney is good too. So, by the way, I didn't want to interrupt you.
Yeah.
Kevon Looney, he signed in this past offseason a 3-year contract. So he's locked up for a while. Jordan Poole was a rookie this year. So we have him locked up till 2023.
Mm-hmm. What about who else was it? Damian Lee.
We just signed him to a contract. He's locked up till 2022.
So, like, this team, when they come back, they're going to have a few years, right, together.
Yeah.
With the contracts that the Warriors have right now currently. And how's that going to work? Is this is going to count towards a season this season?
I believe so, yeah. So that will cancel out a contract year. So on the books right now, going into next season, everybody they have on their current roster is signed to next season.
Oh, that's great. Okay.
Yeah, they don't have any contracts in waiting. Eric Pascal, who was a rookie this season, was kind of blew up. He signed for a few more years. We also traded for Andrew Wiggins. I don't know if your son.
Oh yeah, Wiggins. Yeah.
Andrew Wiggins. He's a pretty good player. We traded D'Angelo Russell to the Minnesota Timberwolves for him, and he's kind of locked up until 2023. So we have a lot of guys who are a good young core who is locked up until for the next 3 years. The oldest guy on the roster right now is Steph Curry at 32. 32 years old. That's the oldest guy.
I think Clay like 30.
Clay is 30 years old, yeah.
Yeah, so
is Draymond. Wiggins is 25. Looney's 24. And the rest of the guys are 21 and under. Oh, except for Damian Lee. Damian Lee's 27. But the rest of the guys are 21 and under.
I was watching a little bit of the NBA, and I was thinking, man, it'd be nice to watch the Warriors. And I was thinking, why? They're not going to win. They have no chance of winning a championship this season.
Yeah.
It's like, this is actually good. They can sit home and get better and practice, and then hopefully, COVID, comes to an end. some point or next season. I wonder how they'll do it next season. They're gonna put the whole league in a bubble.
They're talking about doing a bubble again. Yeah.
So yeah, I think it might be a blessing in disguise, dude. I'm not really one that believes in blessings per se, but the concept of that blessing in disguise, I think, is kind of interesting for the Warriors. What do you think?
I agree, and I think specifically this season, so because of the big contracts that we have eating up so much of our cap, especially with extending Klay Thompson, Draymond Green, and then picking up the Wiggins contract, we don't have much cap room. So we kind of have to rely on young guys or hope, cross our fingers, that we can sign some veterans in the offseason that will take the veteran minimum, which I think is a extremely wishful thinking. Like, we were able to do that when Kevin Durant came a couple of years ago because people wanted to win championships. David West came on a veteran minimum contract because he wanted to win a championship. But we're not going to get that because we're not the Warriors that we were 3 years ago anymore, you know? And I have a lot of friends who are Warriors fans who are just ignorantly optimistic that we're going to get all these players and be able to sign all these guys. Like, I have two friends, you know what? I'll call them out on this podcast, Manny Rin and Julio Reynoso, who think that we're going to sign Giannis Antetokounmpo in the offseason, but there's just no cap space. We're already over the cap as it is. We're paying the luxury tax right now. So
they've been paying that luxury tax for a couple seasons, right?
Yeah, exactly. So there's and once we make the hard cap, there's nothing we can do. So that's just not a realistic thought process. And we really need to rely on these young guys, especially the rookies that we've drafted in the past year and 2 years, to really pick up the slack off the bench, because we have our starting five. It's just a matter of who's going to come off the bench and who's going to score buckets while these guys get rest. So specifically Jordan Poole and Eric Paschall, they got a shit ton of playing time this season in NBA games. And they really got to form their game, figure out what it is, figure out their role.
Yeah.
And find out how they're going to contribute to the team. So I think those were really crucial. This season was really crucial towards them. Jordan Poole averaged, let's look it up. I'm kind of curious now.
Well, I mean, it was kind of convenient, right? Those guys came in with Steph and Klay on the bench, hurt, so they get a lot of playing time. And then now the COVID hits. So, I mean, it would have been nice if they could have got more playing time the whole season. But yeah, that's going to be really beneficial to those young guys.
But they got a lot of playing time, 90% of the season, because Steph Curry went down, what was it, 10 games in the season, something like that? No, 4 games in the season?
Yeah, I think it was just a handful of games into the season.
So Jordan Poole averaged 22 minutes a game. That's huge.
Yeah,
had we had Steph and Klay healthy this year, he probably would have averaged 15, maybe.
Yeah.
He didn't play so well, and he averaged 8 points a game, 27% from three, on 4.5 3-point shots a game. Obviously that's got to improve, but he's kind of learning from that. He's learning from his mistakes. Eric Paschall, he's pretty similar stats as well. 27 minutes a game, averaging 14 points, which is great. 4.5 rebounds, 50% field goal percentage. These are big minutes, and these are big minutes from guys that we need to come off the bench and be productive. And so, yeah, I agree with you. It was definitely very helpful. Yeah.
What's yours?
So mine is relative to yours. This is going to be my last thing, but since you brought up the Warriors, I want to do this. Things I don't miss about sports. The Warriors sucking again. My entire life, the Warriors have sucked. I've been a Warriors fan my whole life, and they've sucked up until 2012. And now they suck again, and I fucking hate it. And that is something I don't miss about sports. 100%.
Especially when they were so fucking dominant.
Yeah, man, it's a killer. And look, I've grown up with just shitty shitty franchises that I've followed. The Raiders have been terrible my entire life,
Yeah.
except for like 2003 was the last time they were good, and then 2016, and then of
Yeah.
course in 2016 they're in first place, and Derek Carr gets hurt in week 13. So then obviously they lose their first playoff game. The A's have always been good, but they can't win a playoff game. So
Yeah.
it's like it's almost just as bad as just always being bad, because you're getting my hopes up and then you're completely killing them. Yeah, it just sucks. I hate the Warriors. That the Warriors suck, and it's just not fun to watch.
That's why
Um,
for me, it's like the COVID thing. I hope it doesn't kill football because I know my love, beloved 49ers, their window is now, and I don't want one of those years to be completely wasted. So I'm just
yeah,
hoping football don't be canceled. Come on.
and
So
I think the offseason kind of proved that the Niners window is now where they didn't have enough money to re-sign Buckner as well as Armstead. So it was like
yeah.
shit. Like maybe this Jimmy G contract will fuck us over in the long run. So like we got to win now with the contracts like flexibility that we have.
His contract's not as bad as people make it seem to be. Um, but yeah, I mean he's getting paid. But if you look at the by comparison like Mahomes and the rest of the guys that have signed since then, it's fucking way cheaper than what it was when he signed. I mean that always happens, right? It always slides one direction, and then the contracts that are previous to that newest contract look small in comparison, but
Yeah.
they're okay. Yeah, I mean I'm not really worried about the cap too much, but yeah, I mean, but Buckner earned that money, right? So you had to make the decision. What were you going to do? You're going to sign Kittle or you're going to sign Buckner? And they're going to sign Kittle. That's a no-brainer. So yeah,
So for Jimmy, was it like he got paid a lot up front, like the first 3 years, and then it just like the salary goes down after that? Is
I
that
think
what
so.
happened?
I don't want to misspeak, but the way that the cap is structured, yeah, it's like a bunch of it was front loaded for specific years where they could afford it. I think the first few years,
Mm,
I think it goes down. As the life of the contract, I think it goes down where it's more team friendly every year,
yeah.
and then maybe at the end of the contract he gets paid or something like that. Yeah, one of those
S-
type of deals. It's not as bad to the team as you would.
Yeah. So Jimmy Garoppolo, I'm looking it up right now. He's getting paid 23 million this year. Um, it's not bad. I mean,
So
there's definitely worse. And
yeah,
I know like Pat Mahomes, he got like he front loaded the shit out of his. Like his like 10-year like
yeah.
almost 500 million. It was like $350 million contract. I guess like the first 3 years he gets paid a fuck ton, and then after that he gets paid like what will eventually be like hardly anything. And he said he did that on purpose. He wanted more years, the same amount of money, but more years, so that like later on the team could have cap flexibility, which is
Yeah,
smart. I get it. I
that's
respect that.
older and he's worth less.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. What's your second one?
All right, my second one is I probably should have led with this one since we kind of started with baseball, but kind of wanted to throw something different out there for me, which would be the Warriors. But my second one is uh, something that I don't miss about sports is I definitely don't miss watching Hunter Pence take at bats. He's 0 for 23 before today. Yeah, so he's 0 for 23 to start the season. He broke his slump today. He one hop liner to the triples alley, and he smoked it too. He was fucking beautiful. But I mean, geez, Chris, I told you before the season started, I was not happy about Hunter Pence, and this is a shitty position to be in as a fan because I love Hunter Pence and everything he did for us and bring us championships and all that shit. But God damn, I hate rooting for this fucking guy. And I hate rooting for some of these guys because it's like you love them and you don't want to feel badly about them, but you're fucking pissed at them every time they strike out. It's the worst part of sports where you're forced to like hate something you love. And it's like, fuck Pence, just get a hit, damn it. Pull yourself out of the street. But he's one of those guys like my buddy belt, who's Mr. Streak, he'll be stroking the ball 2 weeks and then he'll get hurt and be out for 2 months. And it's so frustrating as a Giants fan. So that's mine. What's yours?
So I don't want to compare. I want to talk about this for a second. I don't want to compare Hunter Pence to Kobe, but it's similar situation. Like the last 4 years of Kobe, it's like all Laker fans said were like, yeah, but we're paying him for like what he did for us. He got us all these championships. And it's like, yeah, dude, that's all fucking good and dandy. But are you telling me that you're willing to sacrifice that to watch just 4 years of terrible play and ruining the franchise because he's just wasting, like, I don't know. I don't know how to say it, but it feels very similar where it's like, all right, cool. Like Pence won 2 World Series with us. Love the guy. He was a big part of the first World Series, at least, that we won. But like, oh my God, he's the reason why we're fucking losing every day. So like, dude, like, yeah, I'm fucking upset now. It's just like, it's just a roller coaster, with guys like that. And with like, culture, like, heartthrobs, for lack of a better word, on teams like that. And I don't really know what that's like necessarily because my teams have always kind of like shipped guys off once they, the A's have always kind of shipped guys off once they kind of hit past their prime. But yeah, it's definitely got to be a roller coaster of emotions because you want to reminisce on the good times, but right now it sucks. But at the same time, in 10 years, you're going to only reminisce on the good times.
Yeah, but it's like, we discussed this before the season started. Is it a rebuild or not? If it's a rebuild, I'm fine with it.
We discussed it on this podcast. We talked about it.
I know, that's what I'm saying. So, and then you get Pence in there, and he's 0-23, 0 for 23 to restart the season. And it's like, oh, come on. We're going to watch this for 60 games, and it's like Bart could have been there, I don't care about the starting the clock and all that control and all that bullshit. It's only 60 games. He'd play that in the minor leagues this season.
Yeah, or not play at all.
It's just, I don't know. It's really bothersome to me because as a fan, you don't have a lot of talent on the team to begin with, and then you start 0 for 23 and just sucking it up. Where are you going to go from there? You're just going to like climb to mediocre and stay there all season? Because that's where it feels like he's going.
Yeah.
What do you think?
So I haven't kept up on the Giants. Has Bart made the roster? Is he on the team right now?
No, they were talking a few days ago about bringing him up in a few days. And okay, this is just bad management from the front office then, in my opinion, because the second that Buster Posey said that he was opting out of the season to take care of his twins, which I totally respect, to me, that was a sign. Yep.
Like, okay, cool. It's go time on Bart. Let's see what he's got.
Yep. Now you have a perfect excuse and no one's going to be mad.
Yeah, and I know you don't want to like slow down his development, but he's not going to be able to develop in the minors this year because there is no minors this year.
Exactly.
So would you rather he play or would you rather him just hit batting practice in the cage every day for the next 3 months? Like if I'm the Giants, I would put him on the roster. You don't have to play him every day. Play him every other day. Let him get those at bats. Let him work with the pitching and hitting coach on his off days. Sit in the dugout, watch what the pitchers are doing, so that he gets to know like what their tendencies are. The pitchers that he's catching. He gets to know what Samardzij's tendencies are. Gets to know what his what pitches he likes to throw. Gets to know what his emotions are when he's on the mound. Kind of talk him through it, and so that when he's ready to go catch those guys, he's ready for it. And then also sit with the hitting coach, find out like what the hitting strategies are, like really like kind of work through it and try to figure it out. Like get it. This is a development year. This is a more of a development year than any other year we've seen in baseball. Like kind of like I said at the beginning of the season. Yeah. Or what I said at the beginning of the podcast. Yeah. And I agree with you. It's just like, that doesn't make sense to me. Like the second Posey said, I'm out, should have been like, all right, cool. You made the decision for us. Let's do it.
You were just given a free spot on the roster.
Exactly.
You were just given a free spot on the roster and you blew it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
all because of
100%.
team control shit. When they said, I think they said, due to the amount of games that they're playing this season, the game, there's like a clause where you have to start in the minors, and then if you start in the minors and you bring them up, the team control clock doesn't quite kick in or something like that. So that's why they're going to bring them up in a few days. To where if they bring them up now, it's not going to engage that like team control clock.
And you know what, Uncle Mike, that brings me back to like a rant that I've had going for fucking 4 years about everything about Major League Baseball, because they did the Cubs did the same thing with Chris Bryant. So he didn't get brought up on opening day. He got brought up 2 weeks later because certain things about when his arbitration started for his contract so that they could have more team control is like 2 more years team control, as opposed, it's just like everything about the CBA negotiations with baseball is fucking stupid. And like and you know what? I'm at the point where next season, when the CBA expires and they need to renegotiate, I am willing to not have a year of baseball and have the players sit out to get what they want from the owners. I'm willing to put up with that if that means that in the future, for the rest of my life, we have a better product. And it means that we don't have to deal with stupid like bullshit like arbitration and shit like that. They should completely get rid of it. There's no reason to have that. All these minor league players are completely underpaid. It's a fucking joke. It's just
Dude, they are grossly underpaid, Chris.
It's basically like indentured servants. You know what I mean? Like Matt Chapman this season is getting paid like $500,000 a year, and he's one of the best players in baseball. He should be paid millions of more dollars. Like, just let the contracts be a lot more like basketball. Let them be shorter. Let them renegotiate every 3 to 4 years, and then like just move on from it. Let people get paid for what they're worth, not for what they did in the past. That's the biggest problem with baseball. Sorry, that's the rant that for today's podcast.
No, I like it because I agree with you. It's stupid, right? So you have the talent to make the squad. You've shown it. Even when they come back for the summer workouts before these games started, dude was killing the ball.
Yeah.
Everyone's going, holy shit, Bart's coming up. Bart's ready to roll. And then they're like, nope, sorry. He's not going to make the opening day squad. It's like, dude, you know how exciting that would have been for the fans if he would have been on the team playing? And he was killing the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Come on. When he played you guys, he was hitting the ball well.
And he was like, he was one of the bigger prospects I can think of in Giants history. Like, the A's always had those people. Like, when Sonny Gray came up for his first game, everybody knew it. Like, it was a big deal. Like, I think that his first game was almost a sellout. Like, everybody knew, like, this guy, like, this was our number one pick. Like, he's going to be the future. That was what Bart was for you guys. And you guys haven't had that in a while since maybe Buster. Was Buster that hyped up, though? I don't know if he was that hyped up.
Yeah, he was.
He was? Okay.
He was a big prospect. Probably, I don't know if maybe Bart was a bigger deal because Buster was beloved and he wasn't quite ready to retire. So there's more of a hype on who he's going to replace. When Buster got drafted, who was he replacing? Shit. I don't even remember who was catcher.
Wasn't it? I mean, it was Benji Molina for a while, and then it was someone else, and then it was Buster.
What was the little skinny Latin dude that was our catcher at that time too? Older guy? Martinez?
Victor Martinez?
No. I don't remember. But anyways, yeah, I mean, maybe that's what it was because kind of the end of the era with the Giants, and then all of a sudden, they draft Bart, and it's like, oh, here goes Posey,
Yeah.
Whereas Posey didn't really have that situation, as much as with Posey being such a hero to the Giants fan base,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I get it. All right. So my number 2 is I do not miss Homer fans and the nonsense that comes out of their mouth. Cough, cough. My Uncle Mike and his Niner takes sometimes. Just kidding.
You only feel that way because you're a Raider fan.
What's that?
You only feel that way because you're a Raider fan.
I mean, you claim that the only reason why you guys lost the Seattle Seahawks game was because George Kittle wasn't in the lineup. I mean, I'm sorry. There's no way, shape, or form that I can accept a take where you felt like a tight end impacted the game that much to where you lost it.
It's not just a tight end. Oh my God, you don't want to love him. It's okay. You're a Raider
No,
fan. You
he's the
shouldn't
best
love
tight end in
Dale,
all
but
football. But I'm just saying, look, I mean that's an
good.
egregious take.
He's a beautiful player, man. He really. You see these videos of him working out online like a fucking madman. Like this
Yeah,
dude is gonna go crazy this season. That's the other thing. We kind of went back to that. Like, I don't want the Niners season to be killed due to COVID because we're so damn good right now. I can't wait to watch them play again when they're great.
yeah.
The greatest as a fan when your team is just dominant. It's so much fun.
I'm very curious to see how their defensive line works without Buckner. But God, they're so fucking good. They're so stacked everywhere else. It's like it's insane. Especially when they got Mostert back, they figured that out. When I was a little worried when he was trying to leave, but if they got him back, I was just like, oh shit, they're gonna be so good again.
That could have been real bad if he would have forced it that direction. It could have been. It could have turned out bad for the Niners. So I'm
I
glad
mean, Coleman definitely could have carried whatever load, whatever Shanahan changed the offense to kind of accommodate him, but like Mostert was just such a ground and pound type of guy, and then Coleman was just such a good third down. Like I can throw it, I can run it, like I can fucking do it all. Like see me, I'm fresh. I had 2 downs off, I'm fresh, I'm ready to go type of guy,
Well, that
Um,
to me, that's why Mostert is important to keep him, and I'm glad that they were able to work it out because he's a different kind of back. And when they need the ground and pound, they need to run the ball and control it when they're up, and they're just trying to kill clock and they want to control the game and slow it down and all those things. He can do those things where the other backs they can't do that consistently. Maybe they can with some swing passes and stuff out of the backfield, but they haven't really integrated that stuff into Kyle's playbook as much as I thought he would by this point. So, I mean, Mostert, he proved it, dude, in the playoffs, and that's why he asked for more money. It's because really he was like, you know what? Fuck you guys. I earn more money. And how are you going to say he didn't? Look at what he
yeah,
did.
and I 100% supported that. He deserves a lot more than he agreed to too. Like it's pretty ridiculous. Yeah, but the core of a Kyle Shanahan offense has always been the ground and pound, run the ball. I mean, think about like back with the Falcons team.
Mm-hmm.
Devontae Freeman had the best season of his life in Matt Ryan's MVP season because they grounded and pounded, and then it opened up um, the second third of the field and the third, the top thirds of the field, and he could throw it a little bit and sling it. I just don't think that Jimmy Garoppolo has quite that arm, so I think that's why they haven't quite opened it up that well. But in the way that you're saying, but it works, which is all that matters. And also they don't have the receiving core. And that's the big issue. So like, they drafted well in that, or not, I wouldn't say they drafted well, but they drafted enough in that.
You don't like Ayuk?
No, I don't like where they picked him. I thought there were 3 receivers that were a lot better at that position or at that pick. I really liked Higgins out of Clemson. I really liked. I mean, off the top of my head, I can't necessarily think of all of them, but
Yeah, I mean, Sebastian and I were surprised that
the guy at USC, I forgot his name.
Yeah, Sebastian and I were really surprised they didn't take wide receiver when it happened, but I was happy with it. I mean, they filled needs at cheaper price, so with younger guys. So I felt like it was,
Yeah, and I'm specifically only talking about the second pick that they had when they moved back.
Yeah.
So assuming that they still like move back, I still liked 3 other receivers at that spot better than Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah. Some people.
But at the spot they had it before, they could have had a top 3 guy, which this draft was the deepest receiver draft that we've ever seen, and those top 3 guys were like as sure of a thing that you could get that we've ever seen at receiver. Like all 3 of those guys are known. Like that was the thing about this draft. Like they are as close of a for sure thing as you can get. As close.
Yeah, who was it that you guys drafted?
We drafted Ruggs.
Yeah, Ruggs. That's who Sebastian wanted him to take.
Yeah, that was my favorite. I was really happy when the Raiders took Ruggs. Yeah. Well, I mean, you guys wouldn't have gotten Ruggs anyway because we drafted him before.
Yeah.
But Judy and CeeDee Lamb are both so fucking good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully we get to see him play this season.
Yeah, dude. So we'll see. I mean, hey, you never know. Like that happens all the time. Maybe Ayuk is gonna be good, but I don't know, man. Just it felt like a reach, and Shanahan has reached for guys in the past 2 drafts at receiver, and he's completely whiffed. So I don't really trust his judgment at receiver in drafting.
Yeah. Well, you have to. I can't really argue that. I mean, Pettis is one of those guys that you're referring to, and
Yeah.
we're still trying to figure out what the fuck he's going to be. And I pull for the guy, I root for him, and but I just don't know. I think he's. I don't. I don't want to call the guy a pussy, but like to me, he's kind of a pussy. Like a guy like Debo will go out there and bang as a rookie, and this guy's still trying to cling to a roster spot somewhere. So,
Yeah. Okay. What's your final one, Uncle?
So my final one is something that I don't miss about sports is so Chris, and I think some of the listeners, I think I mentioned it before, that I coach and I manage Little League baseball and softball, and have over the years. And this one is for me was I started thinking about, okay, what don't I miss right now about sports, with some stuff coming back, and it's been fun. And even though cornhole's kind of off now, huh?
Yeah, well, because the championship happened during 4th of July weekend,
Yeah.
so it's over. The season's over.
That was fun. I enjoyed looking forward to that on the weekends. But so
Right? I love watching
Yeah.
that and like texting you about it. Like,
Yeah, it
did
was
you see that
fun.
shot? Yeah, that was so crazy. That was so.
Dude, 4-bag airmail to win the whole thing, no problem. I got it. So so yeah. Anyways, I digress. So I'm a Little League coach. I'm also administrator. I'm executive vice president of my league, and so I started thinking about, man, we haven't. Our whole Little League season was killed due to COVID-19, and what do I not miss about that experience? And what I don't miss is that this is my first season not managing in 7 seasons, and what I don't miss about this is the parents.
Yeah.
Yeah, not all parents are bad, and I've made great friends, and some of them became family through Little League, and I mean the parents can be a great part of it, but man, can they be such a pain in the ass too. So I definitely don't miss that, but I do miss watching my kid play, obviously.
Yeah.
Yeah, so
That was one of your things that you definitely said that you missed watching your kids play. Yeah, I mean, like, look, man, if you fucking know better, then why aren't you out here coaching the team? Like,
Yeah.
oh, I don't have time. Well, all right, then shut the fuck up and sit down on the fucking bench, and you can watch the guy who has time fucking tell your kid the right way to play baseball, because clearly you don't fucking know. That's like, it's just ridiculous, dude. It's just fucking, yeah. No, I know exactly how you feel. So I've been working this past summer. I've been doing like covering like a lot of lacrosse events in the East Coast for this company, and like filming like high school lacrosse, and like covering it. And God, the parents are the fucking worst, dude. Like today, one parent was being really mouthy with the ref, and the ref says, I guess it was something about like she was like arguing. I guess her kid got hit like pretty like in a certain way, and she's like, you should really like watch out. Like that was very like aggressive. Like like I don't know. She said something like that. Like you should like, hey, you need to watch those hits. Like you could have taken his head out, or you could have taken his eye out, or some shit like that. And that kid's so aggressive. First of all, lacrosse is a contact sport. So if you're gonna sign your kid up for this sport, like you got to know what you're getting into. So the ref goes, well, then maybe you shouldn't play maybe you shouldn't fucking play a contact sport. Just throws the F-bomb out there and just responds to her. And then she goes, wow, you don't have to talk to me like that. And I'm just sitting there thinking like, you just yelled at this guy. Like you're just,
where was this at?
He's at it's a lacrosse tournament, high school lacrosse tournament. You're berating this guy. He's at his job. And then like some parents in the background goes, you didn't have to throw the F-bomb out there. And like my instant thought, and I was this close to saying it. I didn't say it, but I was this close to saying, oh, you think your kid doesn't swear? You think your fucking 17-year-old kid's never, 1, heard a swear word, and 2, doesn't swear on his own? Like, get the fuck out of here. I started cursing when I was in 5th grade. I was this close to saying that. Like I was like for
Yeah.
the listeners, I'm pinching my fingers very close. I was very close to saying that because it just just the audacity of this parent to yell at this guy who's just doing his job,
Yeah.
and then complain about getting yelled at back. Like, what the fuck did you expect?
Well, with little league parents, youth sports parents, I should say, and just in general, not really specific to little league, but youth sports parents, is that they all think that they know everything. They think they know better than the managers and the coaches. Um,
Yep.
Everyone has a fucking opinion nowadays.
Mm-hmm.
I think even more so these days due to social media, people love to put their opinions out there, unsolicited. Like, yeah, I'm just going to tell you what I think of you. And it's like, okay, well, yeah, like you said, Chris, I'm the guy with the time coming out here doing this shit for free.
Yeah.
And you're a fucking bitch to me. Fuck you. I'm out here trying to help your kid and my kid and all of our kids for free. I'm not getting paid for this.
Yeah, on my free time, which apparently you don't fucking have, or any if you do, you don't care enough to be out here doing it your fucking self.
Yeah. So it's like, after so many years of that, where, you have the great ones where they just want to, be cool and help. And, I've had so many great volunteers to help me over the years. And
Yeah.
you just get that one or two people, that one or two of those parents, and they just fuck it up. They fuck your experience up for the rest, for the rest of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely don't miss that at all. This is going to be my first season in like 7 seasons that I didn't manage. I was just going to be an assistant coach on the team. And it was nice. We had like about 2 weeks of practice. We had about 4 or 5 practices before COVID shut us down. And it was nice not having all the responsibility on me,
How come you weren't gonna manage?
I just was kind of burnt out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I do a lot, dude. I'm executive vice president of the league, and then I'm manager of a team, and then assistant coaching, on other teams at times, and it's just too much. Like, I just
I
got kind of burnt out, so I needed a break. So
yeah. I also feel like when your kids get older, you kind of just like they're more mature, so you're just they're kind of like fading away a little bit, like doing their own thing. So you're kind of like, all right, cool. Like, all right, I'm gonna do my own thing too, and like kind of fade back and like relax a little bit. Like my parents did that a lot, and by high school they were like kind of like leaving me to my own and like letting me like do my own thing, not being so like involved and stuff like that, which is great. Um, as the teenager, I feel like it feels good, like kind of
yeah,
like taking a step back, and then I feel like as the parents, like you deserve it. You know what I mean? Like you spent every moment of your life since they've been born to you know be involved in their life and help them and and whatnot. So like you deserve a break. Like I mean, my parents.
yeah,
They're living it up now. They're just enjoying life.
yeah. Yeah, I'm just trying to take a little bit of a step back. So it's like,
Yeah.
and yeah. So since then, I, not necessarily gave my resignation, but I told the league that I wasn't going to be coming back. I'm going to be focusing on my career a little bit more,
Yeah.
focusing on family a little bit more, and not spending all the hours, because I spent a lot of time working on little league stuff, and it's great, but it's just a lot. It's a big commitment, and so yeah, so it's kind of feels good too, where it's like, yeah, I didn't miss that. The parents dealing with the parents, and now I'm not gonna. I'm I'm sure I'll miss it a little bit, but I'm gonna be stepping away from running the league, so um, I definitely won't be interfacing with parents, um, which would be good, and just people in general being responsible, for the league. I could just kind of be a parent and be an assistant coach or something if I want to be, you know.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I'm looking forward to it actually. So yeah,
Taking a step back from the league so you can play more Call of Duty. Sounds good.
no,
I'm
not
just kidding.
necessarily,
I'm just kidding.
but that's definitely up during the COVID.
All right. So my last thing is obviously we can't do it now, but it's more for the future when we start going to games. Because this is one of the things that I just fucking hate.
Okay.
I don't miss long lines, long beer lines at stadiums. I don't fucking miss that. Long beer lines at stadiums fucking suck. That was the one benefit I had of being an A's fan because no one goes to A's games. So I
Yeah.
could just, if I want to go get a beer, I could walk up, go up to the concourse, literally no line, just walk straight up. Yeah, can I get a hot dog and another beer? Cool, and walk back. But no, the A's are good now, so they fucking last 2 seasons they're just
Yep.
every single game like I wouldn't say it's long beer lines, but there's a decent line. I'm waiting in line for 15 minutes. It's like, fuck, man. I fucking hate this. I want my beer now. I can't have a beer past the seventh inning. And it's
Yeah.
it's the top of the seventh. After
Yeah.
after the end of this, I'm not going to have time. Like, I want to get 2 more beers in. You're telling me I'm not going to have time for this bullshit? Like, it fucking sucks, man. I just want my beer and I just want to be able to enjoy the game.
And
Get
you're
my-
standing in the concourse, right, with a bunch of other people, and you're watching the game on a TV screen like you're at home.
yeah.
You know?
And the TV screen's always on a delay, so you hear them yell. When a home run happens, you hear them yell. So you're like trying to like look under the concourse, like you're trying to
Yeah.
like for the listeners who obviously can't see this, I'm like bending my head like sideways, like trying to look under something, and you're trying to see like, and then you lose the ball in the air, and you just kind of like you see the outfielder run towards the wall. You don't know where it is because I'm sitting in the fucking concourse and there's a delay, and I don't know, and the ball hasn't even been hit on the fucking screen yet. So I'm just
Yeah.
like completely lost in what's going on. It's just everything about that experience just sucks.
You
And
know
I
what's nice
just
about Oracle? You could see the field while you're waiting for your beer.
they did it right. That's right. They made it super wide. I love that.
You guys will
Um,
have that too, hopefully, in your new place.
Yeah, hopefully. Yeah, it's just it's so annoying. And then, like having to go to the bathroom in the Coliseum and like the plumbing's all fucked up and the
Yeah.
ground's all wet. It's just everything about it, because I associate getting a beer with going to the bathroom because I typically go to the bathroom before I get in the beer line. So then it's even more of a process. And I just don't miss that. I just want my beer and I want to watch the baseball game. Like, just make my life so much easier.
You're currently in the same place I was with Candlestick at the end. Like it's a shithole, but it's your shithole.
Yeah,
right.
Exactly.
And there's something actually kind of noble and like fun about it. Like,
And here's the thing. I don't go to a ball game for the stadium itself and the experience that I get out of the stadium. I go for the culture and the experience I get out of the culture of the ball game and the stadium and the fan base,
Yep.
So as long as that carries over, the ballpark itself is just a plus to the situation. Oh, I can get like different varieties of really good food. Like in Oracle, they have probably the best food of any ballpark I've been to.
Yeah.
I can go like experience like all these other things, like go see these like, I don't know, maybe history of the city and go walk around and have this like nice structure around me. Like that's great, but like it's the culture that comes with it. So
Yep.
that I think that's kind of the way I feel. Like it's my shithole, but like I'd still would rather go to a game there than
Yep.
half the stadiums in the league.
So think about it, right? It's the culture and the vibe and everything you get at the older places. Because same thing at Candlestick, you had all that, right? And then they went to Levi's, and the first game at Levi's Stadium against the Bears, and we had them early in the game. We had them pinned back like 3rd and 15, and I'm up cheering loud. You know how I am. I get all crazy and fucking, fanatic.
Yeah.
And these people behind me, this lady's drinking their wine at their plastic wine cups, fucking telling me to sit down, and it's 3rd and long on defense, and I'm up cheering and yelling, I can't see, sit down, she's telling me. I'm just looking back at these people like, do you know where the fuck you're at? You're
You're
at
at a fucking
49er
football game. You're at a fucking football just in general, you're at a fucking football game. Not even like
Yeah.
who the fuck does that?
I don't know, but it really bothered me. And then that was my first game at Levi's, and it was like, man, what a different fan base,
How many games have you been to Levi?
Probably about 12,
Would
10
you
or
say
12, something like that.
Would you say generally, like, of all the times you've been there, that's been the vibe, though, or is it just that one time?
No, that was just in the beginning.
Yeah.
It's
Because
much better
on
now.
TV, it feels like it's. I don't think it's ever going to be quite the Candlestick vibe because the tickets are too expensive. So the real like hardcore fans aren't going to be showing up. But it feels still pretty close to that recently, at least. Like it's very loud. It's really like, they're really into it and um, interactive with what's going on and invested. I don't know. It feels that way on TV at least.
Yeah, it's a lot better now. A lot of people were pissed when they went to Santa Clara. So a lot of the real fans weren't going to the games at first. And just in the last couple seasons, since I think people have gotten over all the bullshit with Jed York and all the different coaching changes and all the drama and stuff that it had occurred, I think a lot of people started going back. Obviously, winning helps. Don't fool yourself about that. Everybody likes to root for a winner.
Yeah.
So, you're always going to have that to a degree. Some percentage of the people are just going to go just because it's popular and fun, which is, I know, one of your big points about Giants fans. But it's really with every fan base in every sport. People want to root for a winner. It's a thing to go do. And people want to go out and have a good time and go to the popular sporting event, So
I agree. I mean, it's happening with the A's now. Like they're selling more and more and more. Like last season, I every game I went to, it felt like it was twice the size as a normal crowd, and I was just like, "What's going on?" It's because they're a good team. People want to go. People are latching onto that, especially in the Bay Area. There's so many transplants these days with all the tech companies from all over the people from all over the country. Like they just want to be part of that.
Yep.
It's interesting because I don't really understand that. Like I get they're the San Francisco 49ers, but I don't know why you would take such offense to them moving to a new city, especially if it gives you a new stadium. So the Warriors are like this right now, and there's a lot of East Bay fans who are offended that they moved to San Francisco. But especially the Warriors, I always felt like that was the Bay Area's team. So no matter where they go, as long as they're in the Bay Area, I'm happy. I don't think there's any specific region of the Bay Area that they necessarily should belong to. Yes, a lot of their roots and their culture are Oakland based, but they're still the Bay Area's team. So if they move to San Francisco, I don't think that's a reason to be upset. Like Andy Samberg was on Bill Simmons' podcast last week, and he is upset that they went to San Francisco. And his explanation was I'm from the East Bay, the Warriors are such a big part of East Bay's culture. The East Bay culture is such a big part of the Warriors. It always has been. So it almost felt like a slap in the face. And I'm just sitting there yeah, but they're just as much the Peninsula's team, the South Bay's team, the North Bay's team as they are the East Bay's team. So it's not fair for us to claim them.
What about this fact that they used to be the San Francisco Warriors? What about
when
that?
they first came? Yeah, but here's the thing: they were only the San Francisco.
Forget about that.
They were only the San Francisco Warriors for 5 years though, and then they moved to Oakland.
So what? I mean, would you rather not have them here? That's how I look at it.
Yeah, I agree. Exactly. Yeah. I'm with you. I'm just playing devil's advocate.
I know people are always going to have an opinion. Some people get pissed off. I didn't want them to leave Candlestick Point. I felt like they should have built the new stadium right there.
Yeah.
Even though there was a lot of other factors that went into the Santa Clara location, is really why they moved it out there.
Money. Corporate money.
Corporate money and corporate buy-ins and all that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
With Levi's being the corporate naming sponsor and then all that,
Yeah.
There's a lot of money down there. And but yeah, I feel like the A's I feel like the A's fans are kind of in the same spot. And even all the problems that they've had with the Coliseum and trying to get a new stadium built, it's still a great place to go watch baseball. And Oakland baseball history is very rich. So it's cool that they're going to keep them in Oakland. I don't want them to leave. I don't want them to leave Oakland. Remember the Fremont plan that they had 10 years ago?
Yeah, and the San Jose plan too. So it's kind of interesting. They've completely abandoned chasing the corporate money the past 3 years when they hired Dave Kaval, which is interesting. I think they realize that the corporate money is going to come no matter what, and pleasing the hardcore fans, which the A's kind of have a lot of because it's not a big fan base. So it's you really got to appease to the core fan base. I think that they realize that's important to them. But yeah, I mean they thought about chasing the corporate side of it twice and just didn't work out. So I don't know.
Well, hopefully they get it done. I don't know if it's going to get done right there on the water, but
Yeah, I think it's gonna have to happen at the Coliseum site. To be
yeah.
honest with you.
But I think if they do it right, that area can be really cool.
Yeah,
I worked
totally.
over there for 12 years. I used to go by the Coliseum every day on the way to and from work, and then to, around lunchtime and stuff like that too. So,
Yeah.
like, that's a big piece of land. I mean, they can make it really nice.
And they own majority of it now. I think it's 70% of it now. They just bought the county's share of it, so they can pretty much do whatever the fuck they want with it.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm rooting for you guys. I haven't really watched any A's baseball since they've come back, just a little bit here and there in Tahoe. But yeah, I'm rooting for you guys to win the whole thing. I'm still rooting for my Giants to, win as many games as they can.
Yeah.
I'm rooting for the A's. I'm all in with you guys, and I will be too, as long as we're never playing each other. I'm always the A's to win.
Yeah, I know. You always tell me. You tell me all the time, even since I was a kid, that you grew up like being jealous of A's fans because of that '89 team, and I feel like a lot of people in your generation claim that as the best team that they've ever known, even though it was very steroids, so it's really not the best team you've ever known. But like Levitard was saying on the radio a couple weeks ago, like, yeah, because they had like MLB TV on in the background. They were playing the old like 1988 or 89 World Series, and like, yeah, so right now on TV is the late 80s A's, which is the best team I've ever seen play baseball. And I'm just like,
yeah, they were good. Those teams are stacked, dude.
Yeah, they were cheaters, but it's fine. All right, so we'll end it on that point. All right, Uncle Mike, thank you for thanks for coming on the podcast. I really appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. I appreciate you having me.
Yeah, this was a fun one. I'll bring you on again soon. I'll think of some more touchy-feely, nostalgic sports things to talk about.
One last thing before I go. Being the Astros.
Oh, dude, I cannot wait till we play them next week.
Being the Astros, do it.
Fuck the Astros. That's how I'll end the podcast.
Later.